What do you mean by charged and uncharged bodies? When entire matter is made up of protons and electrons, then all bodies must be called as charged bodies, isn't it? Just think about it. Yes, all bodies must contain protons as well as electrons. But we have discussed an interesting characteristic of a charge, that it is a scalar and it can be added algebraically. So now let us consider a situation where a body contains 100 protons and 100 electrons. Now the charge on protons will be plus 100e and charge on electrons will be minus 100e. So the net charge on the body will be 0 and the body does not exhibit any electric effect. So when number of electrons in a body is equals to number of protons in it, then the body can be termed as uncharged, as net charge on it is 0 and it does not exhibit any electric effect. And when number of electrons in a body is greater than number of protons, then the net charge on the body will be negative, so body can be termed as negatively charged body. Similarly, when number of electrons in a body is less than number of protons, then the net charge on the body will be positive and the body can be termed as positively charged body. So this is concept of uncharged body, positively charged body and a negatively charged body. So we understood what we mean by a positively charged body, a negatively charged body and an uncharged body. So now let us understand how to charge a body. So first of all, what we mean by charging? So charging is nothing but converting a neutral body into either a positively charged body or a negatively charged body. So first let us discuss how to convert an uncharged body into a positively charged body. So uncharged body means number of electrons in it will be equal to number of protons. Positively charged body means number of electrons is less than number of protons. Now how to achieve this? What we can do, either we can decrease number of electrons or increase number of protons. So if you decrease number of electrons or increase number of protons, then number of electrons in the atom will decrease or it will be less than number of protons. So the two options, either decreasing number of electrons or increasing number of protons. Similarly, let us discuss how to convert an uncharged body into a negatively charged body. Here negatively charged body means number of electrons has to be excess. So now either we can increase number of electrons or decrease number of protons. So we can achieve it by two ways, that is either by increasing number of electrons or by decreasing number of protons. So theoretically we can convert an uncharged body into positively charged body either by decreasing number of electrons or by increasing number of protons. Similarly, an uncharged body can be converted into a negatively charged body either by increasing number of electrons or by decreasing number of protons. But if we look at the structure of the atom, protons are located inside the nucleus and electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Now these protons are tightly held by strong nuclear forces. So to remove a proton from a nucleus or to add a proton to the nucleus is very difficult, or we can say it is practically impossible. So the options of either increasing protons or decreasing protons is not possible. So now we can charge a body positively only by decreasing number of electrons, and we can charge a body negatively only by increasing number of electrons. So concept of charging is nothing but either increasing number of electrons or decreasing number of electrons. Changing number of protons is not possible. Before discussing methods of charging, first let us know what conductors and insulators are. Guys, we have discussed charge can be transferred from one body to another body, and similarly equal amounts of positive and negative charges can appear or disappear. In all these processes, the charge has to move from one place to other place. Based on how materials allow electrons to flow from one place to other place, the materials can be categorized into two types, that is conductors and insulators. Basically the materials which allow electrons to flow from one place to other place are called conductors, and the materials which does not allow electrons to flow from one place to other place are called insulators. So basically conductors allow flow of electrons, whereas insulators don't allow flow of electrons. So you will understand the mechanism in detailed way in semiconductors chapter. Here I will try to explain it very briefly. Here let us look at the material. Any material is made up of atoms, and in atoms you have electrons revolving around the nucleus. Now you might have discussed in atomic structure that these electrons, outermost electrons, can be removed by giving certain energy, right? That energy we call it as ionization energy. For different atoms, the ionization energy will be different. In some atoms, the ionization energy will be very high, means electrons are very stable in the orbits. So to remove the electrons, you have to give a lot of energy, or in terms of force, you have to apply a lot of force to remove it. So which will be very difficult. And in some atoms, the ionization energy will be very small. In that case, even the slightest force can remove electron from the atom. So now if you consider the conductors, in conductors the ionization energy will be very small, or you can say the electrons can be removed from the atom very easily by applying a smallest force. So there in case of conductors, we have free electrons, means the electrons can move from one place to another place easily, whereas in case of insulators, the electron cannot be removed easily. It requires a lot of force to remove electrons from insulators. So in conductors, right, flow of electrons is possible due to availability of free electrons. Due to availability of free electrons. Whereas in case of insulators, they does not allow flow of electrons because free electrons are not available. No free electrons. Guys, let us discuss distribution of charge on an isolated conductor. First, let us consider a spherical conductor, and we have charged it negatively. So you have given a negative charge at several places, means you have added electrons at several places. Now conductor means the electrons are free to move, so charge can, or electrons can flow from one place to other place. So now if we consider these two electrons, there will be repulsions between these two electrons, and there will be repulsion between these two electrons. So now electrons always tries to go away from each other, so they try to keep the separation between them maximum. So the separation will be maximum when all the electrons are on the outer surface. So the redistribution of charge take place, or the electrons will move until the net force on the electrons will be zero. So electrons will be coming to the surface. So always the charge on a conductor always lies only on the surface. So charge can never lie within the core of the conductor. So guys, we understood that on a conductor, when a charge is placed, whether it is a positive or negative, it always distributed on the surface due to mutual repulsions. Here, when you consider a irregular body, or the shape of the body is not regular, in that case the charges will be distributed on the surface in such a way that the force on electron which is inside the conductor has to be zero. So due to this charge there will be force in this direction, due to this and this. So on all the directions you have force, and this net force has to be zero, and this net force will be zero when surface charge density, means charge per unit area on the surface, is inversely proportional to local radius of curvature. So local radius of curvature means if you take this part here, if you complete circle here, so this radius of this circle will be radius of curvature here, and if you consider here the circle, if you complete the circle, it will be more. So here radius of curvature is large. So here radius of curvature is less, so charge density here will be more. So here the charges are placed very closely. The charge density will be more here, and here the radius of curvature is large, so the charge density will be less here. Okay, and in case if you consider a spherical conductor, as the radius of curvature is uniform everywhere, so charge density will be uniform. So the charge will be distributed uniformly throughout the surface. So guys, when some charge is placed or is applied to an isolated conductor, it is distributed on the outer surface in such a way that the surface charge density is inversely proportional to local radius of curvature. That is, sigma is inversely proportional to 1 by r, where sigma is surface charge density, r is local radius of curvature. Guys, we understood that when a charge is placed on a conductor, whether it is a positive charge or a negative charge, it always lies on the surface of a conductor. So let us consider a positively charged conductor. Now these positive charges always want to keep the separation as maximum as possible due to repulsions. Now the maximum separation will be when they lie on the surface. They cannot move away from the surface, so they just settle on the surface. Now when you connect this charged conductor to an uncharged conductor, now these charges can transfer from this conductor to this conductor, and when the charges move from here to here, the separation between the charges increases. So some charge will be flowing from charged conductor to uncharged conductor, right? Let us say this charge has moved from here to here, and let us say this charge. So and how much charge moves from uncharged conductor to uncharged conductor depends on the size and the shape of the conductors. Similarly here as well, even if there is a negative charge, here also you will have repulsions between negative and negative. So these charges also want to keep the separation as maximum as possible. And initially when this is not connected, the separation will be maximum when they are on the surface. But when you connect it to uncharged surface, now these charges can move from this conductor to uncharged conductor. Then the separation between negative charges will increase. So the negative charge will move from charged conductor to uncharged conductor. When a charged conductor is connected to an uncharged conductor, charge always flows from charged conductor to uncharged conductor. So in this process, the uncharged conductor has become positively charged when you connect to a positively charged conductor. Similarly, an uncharged conductor has become negatively charged conductor when you connect it to another negatively charged conductor. So this is the process of charging by conduction. So the next method, charging by induction. First of all, let us understand the concept of induction. So let us consider a conductor. So an uncharged conductor we have. Now when you place a charge close to this one, when you bring a charge, positive charge let us say, close to this one. So here this is uncharged, but definitely you have protons and electrons in the metal, right, in this conductor. As we are saying it is conductor, so free electrons are available. So everywhere you have a proton and electron pair, a positive and a negative will be there. So everywhere you have a proton and electron combination will be there, pairs, right? Proton and electron pair will be there everywhere in the metal or in this conductor. So now what does this proton do? They start attracting electrons and repelling protons. They start attracting electrons and repelling protons. So due to this, the electron from this end will move in the metal, as there is a easy to move, so it will move from here to here. So finally the distribution of charges on this will be like this. So the electrons will move close to this one, the electrons will come close to the charge, positive charge, and here as electrons have moved from here to here, the positive charge will be left over here, so the positive charge will be left over here. So due to external charge or due to external influence, the division of charge or the splitting of charge, positive charges and negative charges within the conductor is what we call induction. So this is the concept of induction, guys. So this is induction in conductors. Next, if you go to induction in atom. So let us consider an atom, guys. So in atom, you have nucleus, you have protons, and in circular orbits or in the orbits, electrons revolve around the nucleus. Now when you bring a positive charge near this atom, this positive charge will attract this electron, but the electron cannot come out of it. So what happens? The electron start, the orbit of it gets distorted. The orbit of it gets distorted. So electron start revolving in this shape. So the concentration of negative charge will be in this direction. So positive charge will be here and the negative charge will be here. So the dipole formation. So dipole formation takes place. So in case of conductor, as electrons can move from one end to other end, so the distribution of positive and negatives will take place such that electrons are close to the positive charge and protons are, or the positive charge will be at the further end of the conductor. So this is how induction takes place in conductors, and this is how induction takes place in an atom. Now if you consider a non-conductor, so in non-conductor the electrons cannot move from one end to other end. So what happens? So if you take a non-conductor, there are several atoms. So all atoms, when you bring a positive charge, all atoms get distorted. So all atoms gets distorted. So we will discuss this concept once again in detailed way in properties of conductor later. So for now you just try to understand. So all the atoms will become dipoles. So they will be distorted. All atoms will be distorted. Okay. So in case of conductors, the charge distribution takes place such that electrons will be closer to the charge and positive charges will be far away from the positive charge. In case of atom, the orbits get distorted and a dipole formation takes place. And if you consider a non-conductor, in this the electrons cannot move from one end to other end. So what happens here? The atoms get distorted in this, which will be aligned towards the positive charge. So we can use this concept of induction to charge conductors. So let us see some examples. So here we have a conductor. So now when you bring a positive charge, let us say close to this conductor, so just now we discussed that negative charge will appear on the nearer end and the positive charge will be appearing on the far end. So now these positive charges want to go as far as possible, right? So they cannot, this is the farthest possible distance, so they will settle on this end. Now when we connect this conductor to earth, so it is called earthing, we call it as earthing. When you connect this conductor to earth, now what happens? These positive charges can escape to earth, so charge will move from the conductor to earth. So finally the positive charges will disappear and the net charge on this conductor will be negative. So we will disconnect this. Once this connection is removed and this positive charge is taken away from the conductor, the negative charge on the conductor will redistribute uniformly over the surface. So this is process of charging a conductor by induction. So guys, we will see one more example where we can charge two conductors at a time using induction method. So let us take two conductors which are kept in contact. Now you have brought a positive charge close to this conductor. Then induction takes place. The negative charge will be induced on the closest surface, and the positive charge will be induced on the farthest surface, on the surface. Now keeping this positive charge here, we will just separate these two conductors. We will just remove the contact between them. So we will just separate it. Then the charge on this will be positive and the charge on this will be negative. Now we will just take away this positive charge. Then this negative charge will be redistributed on this conductor uniformly, and similarly positive charge will be redistributed on it uniformly. So this will become negative charged body and this will become positive charged body. So this is how we can use the concept of induction to charge conductors. In first two methods of charging, that is by conduction and induction, we can charge only conductors. because transfer of electrons is necessary in these two methods to charge the bodies. Now let us discuss the third method, charging by friction to charge insulators. In this method, when one body is rubbed over other body, due to friction, some electrons will be transferred from one body to other body. So let us see with example. So I've taken two blocks, and when these two blocks are rubbed over each other, due to the frictional force between these two blocks, some electrons will be transferred from one block to other block. So this, if let us say the electrons are transferred from lower block to the upper block, so the lower block will become positively charged and the upper block becomes negatively charged. Now from which block to which block the electrons transfer take place depends on the materials of these bodies. So this is process of charging by friction. Now let us see one example. You might have come across a situation where you might have combed your hair and immediately placed it near pieces of paper, and the comb starts attracting these pieces. But this phenomenon doesn't happen after a very long time. Similarly, if you rub a glass rod with a cloth and place it near pieces of paper, it also starts attracting the pieces of paper. And this phenomenon also doesn't happen after a very long time. This means in these two processes, the rod as well as the comb is getting charged when you rub. So these are the two examples which we come across in our daily life where charging takes place by friction. So with this we have done with methods of charging. So in the next class we will discuss Coulomb's law. Guys, if you find this video helpful, please hit the like button. In this series, I'll cover entire JEE syllabus. And apart from physics lectures, we will be coming up with exciting videos on career guidance, like review videos on engineering colleges and detailed analysis of all branches. And we are also planning to share informative videos on entrepreneurship. So if you don't want to miss out on these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.